Okay, enough of that shit. I got to make a shorter countdown video. A minute and a half seemed like smart back in the day, and now it's just like I get so bored, and I can imagine everybody watching is equally as bored. So let's roll with this. We are going back to our roots. We're going back to the MLB streets. This is going to be a lot of fun because MLB is near and dear to all of our hearts, and it doesn't get the clicks like NFL does. It definitely doesn't get the clicks like NFL does, but we're out here to help try and fill that pennant contest, and who better to ask than baseball, like the Spanish spelling with a 3 in the middle, from the Twitterverse. His name's Chris. But he has been a godsend because he has made the definitive sheet, the definitive Google sheet for all of us to draft off of. And we got to start filling these pennant contests. Like, what are we doing out here, guys? Like, this is playoff baseball. Like, ever heard of it? It's incredible. You hang, you live and die on every pitch. Imagine not having a little financial sweat on that. Like, it's just disgusting that you guys don't want to fill this pennant. So let's fill this shit. Let's get out there. Let's do it together. Let's bring in the Badge Bros are back, and we're bringing in Chris here. What is going on, my friend?
Not much. It's great to be here. Unfortunately, no badge for me yet, but we're going to try and get that out of the way soon and make my way back here.
The badge thing for you is simply the fact that Ontario made some adjustments in terms of legality. You would have earned that badge a long time ago. We know that.
Yeah, we know the truth. We know the truth.
I'll take my honorary Google Sheets badge and be on my way, I think.
Yeah, Google Sheets badge. I love that. Okay, so as everybody saw on the thumbnail, we went back. We found a couple little league shots here, but I just got to bring this to fruition because we kind of threw out some when we were like 11 years old or whatever. And I asked Chris for one of these, and he comes in here and he just dunks all over us with the shots in which he sends. Let's see if I can get the screen correct here. He just dunks all over us, and he comes in here and he just goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, I made a diving catch at the Sky Dome." Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This guy ran
web gem.
Yeah, 112 feet to make a diving yard sale catch at the Sky Dome. Look at this. He's about to go into that nice slide, little pop-up slide. He's going to catch it below his waist. You know that's exactly what happened.
Too clean.
Absolutely. The Little League pics are all printed pics. So those would have had to be photo album, dig those out. And I was like, I got this on my phone, just drop that in the chat and little tag out there.
Absolute flex.
I love that so much. I love that you just had that on standby too. And then let's talk about the lower half here. Like, we're going strong lower half, keeping the front side closed, almost getting all the way through with the hips. A little lag on the hips. He caught something out in front. He caught something out in front here, but
double down the left field line, roll
into
the corner.
That's sick.
Absolute
choking up a little bit, little 2-strike approach there. Look at that. That's beautiful.
He's got a scout in the back right there. You see that scout right there? Yeah.
I think that's Theo Epstein. I could only dream of a swing that beautiful, man. That's fantastic.
Damn straight. Look at those forearms popping, dude. Look at that. Were you on the sauce back then?
This girl's in his day. Yeah, he knows. He's out there.
That was a good day. They've got the under 21 records here, and then they got the asterisks for all of us that were doing roids. They got the judge side and the bond side of stuff. But Buddy in the background there is gripped. I think he just wandered in. Our park was in a valley here in downtown Toronto, and you would just have all sorts of characters come wandering through these games. There was like a public swimming pool and a public rink across on the other side of the field. So you would just get anyone and everyone who would come down and just hang out in the pits down by the diamond. We had someone jump the fence and try and steal a bat during a game. We had all sorts of folks out there.
That reminds me of that Will Ferrell skit. I don't know where Will Ferrell's like with his son, and he's chugging beers during the game, just screaming at him like, "You will do this right." He's like, "Yeah." If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll send it in the chat. But
that's good. Let's dive into this pennant stuff because the playoff picture is set. The playoff picture is set right now, and I guess I'm not sharing my screen anymore for whatever reason. I went back over here. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah, playoff picture is set. So some intriguing matchups. It gives us some strategy talk in terms of like knowing wildcard matchups now. So when we're building teams and we're building like 2s or 3 stacks, we know kind of who not to pick against who, because you'll be losing players earlier in the contest and that sort of thing. So just like overarching, now that you guys see this playoff picture like this, where do your guys' eyes gravitate towards as, let's talk wild card value right now? Like who are we looking there?
Go ahead, Numi. You've been in these streets more than
I mean,
this.
I've been doing more fast drafts, I guess. So I mean, Chris is at 100. I'm pretty sure you said you were, but you did them all slow, and you haven't been able to be in this most recent ADP shift. We've talked about it, how the fact that now the Mets have squandered their bye, and now they're a wild card team. So as much as really I wouldn't say they're a value. It was a value for the people who were drafting Mets early because their ADPs were suppressed. I mean, you were getting DeGrom at like a 10 ADP, and then he slowly moved up a little bit, but now he's going top. I mean, it seems like top 3 pick every single time. So
and just speaking macro level to why that is, like people might be like, hey, why the shit would somebody in the wild card round be going better than someone who is solidified? It's because we need to score those points in the wild card round. So DeGrom actually becomes more valuable in this setting. Do we agree with that?
Yeah, it's important to note for anyone if they're new, don't know the format, that the round 1 of the Pennant, it's broken up into 3 rounds, and the round 1 is the wild card plus the divisional series. So that's what you're saying there is those wild card teams are going to provide more or potentially more games. I mean, they will have more games than the bye team. So it adds just like an interesting wrinkle.
Okay.
And so it's just, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you look at all the wild card teams, like the highest, well, now the Mets, if you take out the Mets, it's the highest person in ADP is like Goldschmidt at like 11. Otherwise you can full stack any of those wild cards teams fairly easily, as long as you don't have people just going willy-nilly, which they have been recently.
Okay. How about you, Chris? Like when you're looking at this right now, and like that macro level question that I had for you, like, does that make the Mets more valuable now that they're playing in the wild card round, or is that not the case for you?
So I've been big on the Mets, I think, from the jump, pretty much. I just like the way the team's built for the regular season, but especially built for the playoffs. Getting DeGrom and Scherzer healthy and back and pitching has, left something to be desired this weekend for sure, when they, choked away 2 of those 3 games against the Braves. But getting to throw DeGrom and Scherzer in games 1 and 2 of a 3-game series or a 5-game series or a 7-game series is just such a huge edge. And I think Numi's right about, get the extra games from the wild card round. The other thing that we kind of brought up with specifically the Mets and specifically the Dodgers in that half of the bracket is the Dodgers are so fucking good that I think if you're the Mets, you almost would rather kind of have a shot at them in a 5-game series instead of a 7-game series.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, because if you're going to need everything kind of to go your way to beat the Dodgers anyway, because they're just kind of a machine, and they're so deep and they're so talented, whereas the Mets are more top heavy, especially on the pitching side. That if you can get into a 5-game series where you get a DeGrom start, a Scherzer start, and then maybe a third start for one of those guys, maybe on short rest, something, that's like 3 good kicks at the can to win a game. And I think in a 7-game series where the Dodgers like depth and talent can really shine. So I don't hate this as much for the Mets for sure.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I like that. One nice thing about the playoff picture being set like this early in quotations is that nobody's going to be forcing arms on short rest to finish the season and then to start the playoffs and having like, hey, we're dogfighting for a spot or dogfighting to win a division, and then we're going to turn around on short rest and start them in game 1, which has always been like a fear of ours when we were drafting a month ago, right? Is that the Mariners would be fighting for this last spot, and then it's like, okay, now you go on the road to face somebody and you don't have Luis Castillo and Robbie Ray, and you just burnt 2 draft picks late on a third like Mariners stack, for instance.
Right.
Anyways.
I'm a little bummed how the playoff picture turned out because I have a lot of Padres and a lot of Mets. So getting like having, not only does it stink that like those two play each other and now they're going to like, cannibalize themselves in my exposures, but then they have the goddamn Dodgers right after. Not great for my futures, but the Dodgers were so expensive that I hardly have like any Dodgers. So that could potentially be like a huge swing and variance in my direction. But right now, DeGrom seems like just like an absolute cheat code for the first round. Like if he's starting game 1, then and they beat the Padres, like having multiple starts of DeGrom like at his best, and he's actually like doing DeGrom shit, that is good luck beating that in your pod. That's gonna be really difficult, and that's why I've started to change my strategy and adding third teams when I start to draft.
Okay. Yeah. So, let's see where we land. Like just collectively. Yeah. Numi, you were going to jump in. Let's collectively just talk. Are we building primarily 2-team onslaughts? Are we building 3-team stacks? Are we getting weird at all and building out like randoms, like where it's like, hey, now all of a sudden we got 4 teams and we're just kind of plucking at talent? Yeah. Where are you guys landing?
Well, so I have it was shout out to Chris, because I built the little thing just literally off of his with my World Series matchup exposures to see like where they lined out. So all of a sudden I'm not just going nuts. He commented on it +1 for mess. You know what I mean? Like, cause it was hilarious. Yeah. So I have 65 2-team lineups, just 2 teams. And I've done 87, 15 3-team lineups, and then just some 7 mess. So I'm primarily 2-team.
Okay. Yeah. Where are you coming out on that, Chris?
I'm also definitely very heavy 2-team, especially towards the end. I was pretty much like, I think the last 40 or so I did were all 2-team. Trying to just run the combos as much as possible. I ended up at, looks like about 75-25, 2 teams versus 3, and a lot of those 3-team ones were at the beginning. But yeah, by the end, I was pretty much just willing to kind of jam in 2-team stacks and go deeper into those kind of longer shot teams.
Yeah. Nice. What about now? Is this too galaxy brain, too crazy? Did anyone try 2-team same side? So
I have not done that.
2-team AL, 2-team NL. Did anyone try anything crazy like that?
I have not, but I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. I would just want to do that. Like just looking here, on the NL side, if I was going to do that, I'd maybe want to do like Phillies Padres, just something like 2 wildcard teams where I'm making a bet that one of these, like both of these, like I don't want to do the same wildcard game, but I would maybe do 2 different wildcard teams, or even a bye week and a wildcard team, but definitely somebody on the further side of the bracket. Of course, try to call that championship series, and then hopefully you pick the World Series winner and they just go off, because it's not impossible that a 1-team stack I think can win this thing, because of just it's a battle of you got to get there first. You want to fill out a full starting roster, don't get me wrong, but but it's not impossible that an onslaught can take this thing down.
I was thinking about it in terms of like, and I'm just throwing shit against the wall, right? Like I haven't even tried this yet, but I'm just thinking like through this out loud. Like what if you built like an Atlanta plus San Diego or something like that, right? And you're going, okay, that's the NLCS. You're knocking out one of the highest owned teams in the Dodgers in doing so. And then you're going to have one full 6-man onslaught for the World Series.
I'm against it. I'm against
and
I know I'm just full. I get the galaxy brain. I just don't. I wouldn't even entertain it. It would be like, that's cool, but I wouldn't. I mean, you're gonna get multiple teams in there with your stack and the other team, and you're dead.
Yeah, sure.
You're dead.
Yeah,
you're immediately dead because they have outs that you don't. So that's my thing. Is that they're just in my mind. I don't think there's any any way to even make that a viable, like, oh, I could do it with
I
one
guess
or
the
two. It's
only
like,
way
just,
it comes to fruition is if it's Rays versus
Right.
NL Wild Card World Series.
You're live.
That's the only way.
Like
then
you're
live,
extremely
right?
live.
I mean,
if
I've
that's the case.
made every combo possible,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to continue to go make every combo again twice.
Mhm.
And not saying
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
I've
sure,
covered
yeah.
it all, I will win. It's just at
No,
least giving
I mean-
myself outs to those.
Yeah, that's how you should be playing this contest. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing shit out there to have a conversation.
I know, and I'm just
Yeah.
saying for the viewers that my thing was like, I wouldn't even entertain it whatsoever. I don't know about you, Chris, how you feel about that.
I'm with you. I think I wouldn't entertain it either. If I was, like, the only possible way would be if you like just rolled the like top 9 Dodgers somehow, broke your way in the draft, and then you're like sitting there. Maybe everyone else went heavy on AL teams, and
Yeah.
then you're just
Yeah.
left picking from like, well, I can take Steven Kwan and Nestor Cortez as my top AL players, or like take some Phillies guys or something. Like that would maybe be
Right.
the
Yeah, Reese
point
Hoskins
one.
and something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I will
But
say-
no, I would
Yeah.
say draw the line there.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
going
that's
just
fair.
and going back just like to the 2 versus 3 team debate, what I've been trying to do right now is I'm paying a lot of attention to who are the game 1 starters in the wild card. Just because I think if you end up with, like, let's say like I don't want to choose a Mariners or Blue Jays starter to pit our two members of the stream against each other, but like Shane McClanahan. I think if you get Shane Mack and they beat the Guardians, and now you're looking at like multiple Shane starts in round 1, that can absolutely supercharge your team, and you just kind of treat him as a fuel pod on a rocket ship. And if he doesn't make it to the next round, like whatever, like he got you there, and now that's just one piece off, and like it just really has a chance to like absolutely secure your spot in the quarterfinals. I feel like with just like a one-off like ace, and they're freely available. Like,
yeah, what I'll say to that is, like, you can get these guys and still just build out a 2-team stack and have
a one-off McClanahan.
You don't even need to get a one-off. You can just build out the Rays and build out another team.
I don't want to build out the Rays. The Rays are probably not going to make the World Series.
We're not, but well, then, sir, I would just like to say, look at that sheet, because the things are not certain and things can happen in baseball. I build up plenty of Rays. The Rays, to me, and I think I was going to bring this up to Chris, is the Rays. If you look at bracket side, that might be the easiest way to get to the ALCS. The Yankees are frauds, the biggest frauds of the bye teams. So like that's the thing I'm looking at. Like I totally get you with of all the teams available plus the bye teams, but it's you can get
that was just an example.
You
I'm
can
doing
get
it with
Shane
all
O'Mac, Drew Rasmussen, and Drew Rasmussen is likely for 2 starts in that first round. Like he's not likely, but he's possible to get it. Then you build that with even another wild card team or a bye team, and you're still getting a lot of starts on that team, plus the whole entire roster for those teams. And it's like, I totally get, because what I'm just playing for is to literally get lucky and have 1 to 2 teams from those combos make it, and I have to fill out a whole World Series, like the whole roster.
The last thing that I'll say is that, like, if I'm building like one of the bye teams, the Astros are incredibly hard to get. The Dodgers are incredibly hard to get. I'm not wasting my last few roster spots on like hoping that Chris Taylor can get into the World Series when I want to make sure that I can get that team across the line because they are missing games due to not being in the wild card. And now it's just like one pitcher who can put up a monster score in this type of format with like the best ball pitching scoring. I have a like that's just my lean. It could be wrong, but just like sacrificing one roster spot to absolutely propel me in a team that needs first round points, I don't think is the worst idea. It's just
I don't think you need it with the overlay. I don't think you're going to need it with the overlay. I think the teams with the wild card spots, there's going to be wild card teams all over littered, and you're just going to get in because you were the second or third squad and you just scored high enough.
Okay, well, that brings up an interesting point because I think we're having 2 separate conversations melded into one with that right there. But Chris, what are your takes on projecting overlay here and how that changes our contest strategy?
Projecting overlay is tough. I think, I don't know what the current number is. Earlier it was like a 34, 35%.
37.1.
It's a pretty big jump from like earlier this week, I will say.
Yeah. So Monday night it was 25, so it's gone up about 12% in a day and a bit. I imagine that there'll be a lot of people pumping in entries tonight, tomorrow, Friday morning. It's like a pretty quick draft once you fill a room. $10 is reasonable. I think if it was $5, this thing would be filling a lot quicker. So the $10 was kind of an interesting one. In terms of strategy with the overlay, I think it was Nez was the first one to bring it up on Twitter that the more overlay there is, they can't reduce the number of teams that advance out of like kind of the first round of games. So even if you don't win your pod, they're going to start adding second and third place teams that score the highest amount of points in that first round.
Okay.
So even if, you draft some buy team guys, maybe they don't score like they don't have the top tier scores because they missed a round, but they still come in 85 percentile like outcome for them in that 4 or 5 game series. Like you could kind of propel those teams that maybe might have been on the outside looking in of a full field into the next round. And then once you make it out of that first round, those buy teams are the buy teams because they're very good and they're going to have home field advantage. And they are the most likely 4 teams to make the World Series. So the only downside right now is getting them out of that first round, but overlay will help you kind of push some of those lower scoring teams through potentially.
Okay, so then like just in a vacuum, tie a bow on that, it kind of implies that the buy teams and players from those buy teams are worth more the greater the overlay. Does that
100%?
Can we simplify it? Yeah,
it's one. It's 1 to 1. It's definitely 1 to 1.
Yeah, I really like that take, like just in general, because you need less from them in the first round. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. There are a couple questions in the chat here, just asking about a Judge one-off, and then not having anyone else. Like, how do you guys feel about this, where you can't control how the draft board falls, right? But you start with Judge at 101, or even if you started with Mookie Betts or something like that, and then someone else at the back end of the draft board builds out that team. Are you still looking to backstack later with, Oswald Cabrera or something like that? Or are you looking to just, okay, whatever, I have a Judge one-off?
I personally try to stack Judge just because of literally like one player, which is like Luis Severino, is there like always like really late, and just knowing that if I can get like one of Judge's teammates and get like 3 total Yankees on that Judge with that Judge number 1 pick, then like I feel good about that. But what do you guys think? I know you guys are probably all like no way, no one-offs. But
it's funny because Chris mentioned this on the first stream where the Josh Allen example for football, where Judge could be the guy that you need. And this goes back to the Yankees are frauds thing. Judge could be the guy that you need, and he could absolutely smash. And it's all of the next, a large percent of the teams that advance were all Josh Allen, Judge teams, but the Yankees don't advance. That's something that he brought up, and it's made me kind of like, okay. And I think I do have maybe one. I think immediately I went and built a Judge one-off team just because of that, so I could remember. But that's the only example that I remember that made me go, that's a good point. I don't know how likely it is. Chris, I don't know if you want to piggyback on that.
I think like if I'm going top down, I'm thinking I want to go 2 teams, not 3 teams, ideally. A lot of drafts you end up in, sometimes just not possible. You got to kind of pivot as things go, and you need a third team. I would, if I'm going for 3 teams, I want kind of, I usually would take 2 players. I think just one maybe isn't kind of like committing enough to that team, maybe going far. But the other thing that I would like to do with those 2 players is I want them to be difference making players. Like I wouldn't want Judge and then some like, Josh Donaldson bat at the end of the draft. I'd want Judge and Garrett Cole, and then leave the Yankees alone. Because I think what Nez was saying before about the pitchers in this format being able to score more than hitters, like just in general, depending on the number of
raw
starts
points. Yeah,
exactly. There is one quirk to the schedule that for AL teams, AL wildcard teams specifically, that may or may not come into play depending on series length. But the ALDS has an extra off day in it compared to the NLDS. So games 3, 4, and 5 are going to be a day later than the NLDS versions. So if you draft a AL wildcard game 1 starter, and their team advances,
you get an extra rest day. Yeah,
you get an extra rest day, but you're going to get that 2-start kind of outcome for sure. You might be able to squeeze 3 starts out of a guy. Someone threw that out on Twitter last week. And just kind of counted out the days. And if you start game 1 of the wild card round, you could make 3 starts if one of those next 2 starts is on 1 day of short rest. So that's a sick point to bring in, and I think you were going exactly where I wanted you to go. Is let's name some names there between Manoah, Ray, Shane Bieber, and McClanahan. Castillo, I think, is who they've.
Oh, you think Castillo's going to pitch in front of Robbie Ray?
I think so. I think that was kind of the beat reporter speculation, and that was the way that they came through the rotation last time as well. So Bieber, Manoah, McClanahan, and Castillo are the 4 guys that I kind of have earmarked in the sheet as like these guys are wild card game 1 locked in, maybe 3 games if the DS goes to 5.
That's a beautiful little nugget to throw out there. That's why you get paid the big bucks to come on the stream like this. I mean, that's the hard shit hitting shit we need. That. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Chris. So in terms of three man, so how I've been typically building them is I'll attack like 2 players. I'll get a pitcher, like a starting ace, and then a batter from that team. Sometimes I'll draft another one. Otherwise, I'll do in this example, I have a Max Scherzer, Francisco Lindor with a Julio Urias and Freddie Freeman, and then I went all Guardians. Excuse me, Guardians. Don't get canceled. I went Bieber, McKenzie, Quantrill, and then Jose. All the Guardians, and of course I was sniped on a Stephen Kwan at pick 33 for no reason. Just needed him, So don't have him. But that's how I kind of build it out. As I get a starter, like an ace type caliber player with a big bat. Do it another one from that conference, and then I just build out the full stack if I'm doing a 3-teamer. Is that kind of how you've done it in the past, or you just kind of play by draft?
I like that. That's a good way of kind of putting it, where you're getting those high-end like differentiator talents at the top, and then backfilling kind of with quantity on a team that could go far based on anything really. And I think that it came up briefly before that. I think Numi was saying that you want to target that Yankees quadrant, because I think of the 4 bye teams, that would be kind of the one that I would point at as being the weakest. And that opens up the Guardians and the Rays, which are 2 of the ugliest teams to stack and target for sure. Like I would much rather just sit there all day and take Jays and Mariners because those are, funner. But there's a real chance we end up with the Guardians or a Rays in the ALCS. Like I could see that being very viable.
Yeah. Hey, so John, click Justin Verlander here. We can build out because you can do it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to mentally do there.
So Verlander, and then you could
Jordan.
We can do Jordan. It's become more of a common stack as I've seen it happen. So you could do this hypothetically. Comes back around. You grab. So scroll down a little bit. You'll have to go down. Then you grab, say, maybe Vlad, and then something like that, and then you would get Manoah. And then you'd start building out that other team, and most likely, it depending on what value's still there, if maybe a Brave is still there. Sometimes that happens. You can maybe start going into that Braves. I like the Braves because they have Morton. So I'm gonna blank here on the spot. They got Strider, Morton, Wright,
Fried.
I mean,
Strider. I would not take Strider though. Let's just throw that out there.
Strider, I've been taking a lot.
No, he's big. He's big hurt.
But he might be coming. They said he's eyeing coming back. So, but yeah, no, that's something I was going to bring up later. But basically, if you're building out that whatever way from AL to NL, you get your big boppers, you get Manoah, and then you can just start building out that NL wildcard team. You can do it vice versa, how I stated. So that's kind of how I build out. Nez, is this how you build out 3-mans, or is it?
For example here, I'm not going to do that because that'll tilt your face off. That was a 4-man.
Oh gosh.
Well, that was with the one-off McClanahan. No, like for me, like I've been really focused on like on teams' aces, like especially with these wild cards. Like I said, like I just really am worried, like because I take, I'm targeting a
I
lot of buy.
really
I'm good.
agree with this point. No, I was just sorry. I was
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm
really agree with this point.
that,
I
yeah,
don't know.
especially if I'm taking like a teams with buys, like I'm getting a lot of their pitchers, but I'm
Mhm.
worried that there's not going to be enough volume there to get me over the line. Like
Mhm.
I want to like I want to have these combos and beat my pod members and get there while still having like, oh, I still have like two of the best teams in the postseason. And I happen to get there because like I had, I might need a little help. And even if there is
Mhm.
overlay and I don't necessarily win, I'm still putting myself in a position to be selected to go into the quarterfinals with the overlay by having more raw points in raw
Mhm.
one. I still totally understand that like you need like
Ki-
I'm still making sure that I can fill out a full roster in the
Mhm.
World Series. Like that is still priority number one.
For
But
sure.
I'm
I get that.
Let me throw out one overarching question just for everybody. Just like I just want one overarching question. Relative to ADP. So if we adjusted for ADP and we were just like who's the most valuable player in the player pool? Like ADP adjusted. So it could still be Judge, it could still be that top end, but ADP
DeGrom.
adjusted, is it okay? So okay, well, let me finish the sentence first, and then we can have this
It's
conversation.
DeGrom. It's
Is it a wild card ace? Question mark. That's it. That's all I want to know. Is it a wild card ace?
Yeah, it's Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah.
The wild card ace.
Yeah.
I
I
guess
mean,
if it's anybody outside of the I don't know. Outside of DeGrom, I really hate that if the Mets win, they played the Dodgers, but outfielders are once again like very thin. Brandon Nimmo is like far too cheap.
okay.
He's like one of the easiest clicks.
I fucking love that call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Chris,
Tyler
throw
O'Neill's
another
hurt,
name
isn't
for
he?
me.
Yeah. O'Neill is not playing in the wild card.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, O'Neill. Yeah, O'Neill. I don't think is going to really make an impact here. Hammy injury lingering. Don't love that for a guy who's a power speed guy. It's not ideal.
I've really soured on the Cardinals because of that. Like I really thought that they were gonna be like a team to get in there, but like not having O'Neill, I think like really hurts. Like they need like when O'Neill's hot, like that is a big difference maker for them. They've really cooled off later in the season, and like I like their pitching depth, but I don't know that they have enough ceiling in their pitching staff to make like a large run. But I was really into them early.
One thing I
Yeah.
was going to say about the Cardinals is just top of mind from all the daily contests and stuff is they don't really have any everyday playing position eligible outfield. You know what I mean? Like just
Right.
from Underdog's positional eligibility, it's like they rotate in Dickerson. Like Lars is sometimes a split
I
guy.
think Carlson's going to be getting everyday work as a switch hitter.
Yeah,
in
as a
postseason,
switch
so
hitter.
that's
Yeah.
who I've been going to every time.
But even Carlson, they move him all over the lineup too,
That's
right? So
fine.
is
I
that
don't
bats
care.
are no, of course. Like we can't control that and don't care about it, but it's just like it's just mindful in terms of like everyday ABs. It's not like Nimmo where he's just always at the top if he's in there, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, and then Chris, I want to keep that same question for you. ADP adjusted favorite kind of target right now. Would it be a wild card pitcher, or would your eyes look elsewhere?
It would be DeGrom. If it's not, if I can't say DeGrom, then it's going to be one of those AL wildcard game one guys. I think individual player wise, pitchers by themselves can make more of an impact than an individual hitter. Like if you're an individual hitter, just the way that baseball works and the way the lineups work, there's going to be this combination effect of different hitters kind of raising each other up and carrying. Unless you're a guy who goes out and hit like 3 solo homers in a game, but there's always going to be this kind of rising tide lifts all ships kind of deal. If you look at the scoring from last year's playoffs and just this season, hitter scoring is it's very linear. Like it's pretty kind of correlated to volume and playing time and at bats. Like that's pretty much it for hitters. But for pitchers, it's very kind of stepped based on the number of starts you get. So hitters goes up by at-bats, pitchers goes up by games, and in a game, like, you can score, a lot more points than a hitter can. So I think that individually those pitchers can kind of level up your team better than like Jose Ramirez is an excellent hitter, and he's going to score you maybe 12, 13, 14, like on a good night. And the value of Jose Ramirez would also be tied to like him bringing up the scores of Stephen Kwan and Oscar Gonzalez and Josh Naylor and the guys around him. Whereas a pitcher can kind of make that difference making impact by themselves.
Yeah, I like that take a lot. That's very interesting. Okay, looking into the sheet now, I want to pivot into the sheet because I think this is it's an amazing tool, and it's incredible that it's not behind a paywall, and it's great.
Yeah.
Dude, stop. Next year it's gonna literally be he's gonna be like, all right, I'll take 1,000 up front, and then per show it's gonna be 150.
Good.
Damn right.
Damn straight.
Yeah, no, as it should be. But yeah,
we'll put a Badge Bro logo on it, and we'll get 20%. Let's go.
Lining up the sponsorships.
Yeah, there we go. Talk me through the sheet, like just in general, like what would your most useful approach to it like be if I'm just coming into the sheet for the first time? Where am I looking?
So right off the bat, I would be going into the playoff picture tab, like highest level, kind of look at where the teams are at and what the rough percentages are for the Fangraphs and for the market in terms of like how deep we think these teams are going to go, because that's really the driving force behind scoring is how deep are these teams going to go. So here, you're looking at what's the path you like, what are the, relative values and kind of overpriced teams. Fangraphs really hates both the Guardians and the Cardinals. So those two teams, despite being the 3 seed, are, pretty heavily discounted compared to the other wildcard teams, the other division winners. And this kind of gives you a clear sense of like, what is your path to the World Series, to the championship round? Because like we talked about before, you don't want to box yourself in by, picking 2 wildcard teams against each other or a bye team and a wildcard team in the same half of the bracket. Like you really want to maximize those playoff games and playoff rounds. So understanding the actual like format and structure, because this is a new format for the playoffs this year for baseball. So just kind of understanding that would be step one, I think, to kind of cracking this contest.
Yeah, I like that. So then naturally, have your eyes been gravitating towards like Toronto here and the Mets here? Or like, are you kind of running linear with the projected percentile, or are you still finding your way to some Cleveland, some Cardinals, some whatever based on their ADPs?
So I'd say in general, that would be the kind of like face reading, is you want to match the percentages to your exposures. Then we kind of took that on the last stream to another level of strategy where it's, if you're looking at ADP and where teams are relative to like the matchups that they could run into in the World Series. And in that matchup tool tab, it kind of compares each individual World Series team and their matchup. And this kind of illustrates that, you can be very certain about which teams, like the best teams in the league. Still, nobody on Fangraphs has a like 10% chance of basically picking the right matchup, which is kind of crazy to think about. And that in combination with the, like, you want to have an unobstructed kind of clean shot at a team's best players and impact players made me kind of lean towards my exposures are I'm overweight basically all of the wildcard teams and underweight the bye teams, specifically the bye teams playing the bye teams. I still have a hefty amount of Mets, rest in peace, the bye, but a lot of them, a lot of Braves, a lot of Astros. Astros are, I think, my highest owned team, but I got a lot of Astros with Braves, Mets, Cardinals, Padres, Phillies. I don't think I have any pure like Astros Dodgers stacks that I feel good about, because it's just so hard when you
it's just so thin to go buy and then hope that there's only a 10%, 8% chance that they meet each other in the finals.
Exactly. And then when you get to the finals, this was one of the points I tried to get across on the stacking illustration tab, is you get there with these two juggernaut teams, and you could have a sick team and you're still flipping coins against all the other good players from those two really good teams. So
right.
It's someone said this in the chat before, but the final in this tournament is extremely big. It's a 310 person final.
Yep.
Which is bigger than the bunt, bigger than the dinger, bigger than all the other tournaments basically. And that makes it
in an isolated 5-game sample, who's to say Chris Taylor doesn't outperform Trey Turner in the World Series?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or if, we get this outside the box World Series, I want to have, the deepest kind of Jays Cardinals stack of players. If just in case we turn over the cards.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Matt Chapman is the key.
Matt Chapman kind of skeleton key.
Whit Merrifield's been going off. How about Whit?
Whit, yeah.
Dude, okay, let's just talk about Whit for 1 second as a player. How the shit did they not just play him all the damn time after they traded for him? It was insane. It was why make that deal in the first place if you're not going to play the whole time? And you could talk about the vaccinated, unvaccinated, whether he wanted to come to begin with, blah, blah, blah. But how do you make that deal and then not just be hey, man, he's just our everyday player. And then you start running out Tapia, Jackie Bradley Jr., all this stuff, right?
And they've been running out some egregious outfielders too, Jackie Bradley and fucking Bradley Zimmer is going to put me in an early grade.
Oh my
dude, Bradley Zimmer was a huge prospect 10 years ago. Remember those days where it was Bradley Zimmer's going to change the face of the franchise for Cleveland.
Good Lord. Yeah. So they had Gabriel Moreno playing left field today in the second game of the doubleheader against the O's. There's a non-zero chance he gets he makes the roster in the playoffs, just as in case one of those other two schmucks doesn't make it.
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree. Some of these Jays guys, Whit, Chapman, Kirk, those dudes are going to play more often than not. Chapman and Kirk especially, they'll be in the lineup every single day in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like that call because it's rare that you get a catcher who gets every day at bats, but he DHs and he's such a damn good hitter that he's in there. And then Chapman will always be there because he's just the best at defense. So I like those shouts for if you're picking back end, just as an overarching rule, if you're picking back end talent in here, pick everyday talent that's in there because of their defense, right? Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. And it's something we talked about in the preseason and spring training and stuff like that, where it's man, at bats are king. At bats and innings pitched mean so much because when you're just out there in the same capacity that we're hey, multiple starts could be the differentiator maker on the pitching side. What could be the differentiator on the hitting side? Well, just ABs, man. Just get reps, right?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Should we, I'm going to jump us in a draft here. And then with the notion that it might not fill instantly.
Oh, they've been filling fairly quick.
Nice.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Fairly quick.
Interesting that the baseball contest today, I haven't been playing a ton of the daily baseball, especially after we've been streaming and stuff, that it was, did I just go past it twice?
Yeah, it's third now. They moved it up.
Oh yeah. When it gets the push up, they're pushing.
It's got, I expected it this entire week for it to be sitting at the top, but it's not.
Yeah, it's really surprising, but it's filling up pretty quickly.
Oh
yeah, check that out.
It is. But they still need a lot of push towards it, and a lot of it is just people I've never seen before, and it's they're coming obviously, but it's just they're coming in drafting one, and I think they're oh, okay, cool, I'm done.
Have a spot for playoff baseball for $10.
They're getting that promo. Yeah, they're getting that promo. I mean, I've seen 8 pitchers being drafted over and over again. I've seen it's just egregious lineups, dead lineups all over these fast drafts, guys. That's another thing. Maybe they're not dead. Maybe they do end up just actually they're the median lineup and they advance, and then it's dead for the people that advance to next round. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's another thing that I should say is yes, in theory, we get the chance of having more of the overlay having the wild card teams, I totally get that. Yes, that doesn't just automatically mean they're going to move up. Like in theory, it could be all of the teams that drafted the 3 and 4 and just had the best players score, and then boom, they're in there. You know what I mean? And then, but in theory, that helps the teams that actually have 2 teams advance, because there could be extra dead teams just advancing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's going to be so interesting to see, like the advance. It just And I told Chris this. Like, we know as of Sunday night. Like Sunday night, we will know the division series. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Boom. All right, we know the division series. We know. Yeah. We know what needs to happen. So
wow, DeGrom awesome. 101. Let's go.
I'm into it. I'm into it. Yeah. I mean, it's that he could be like that valuable.
So I will say I don't follow ADP at all anymore.
Yeah.
I just draft willy nilly. So. Like I'll just go after a team. Like I've been doing a lot of Vlad in the first, just to start off. If I'm doing another wild card team of the,
new me.
Obviously, I'm not doing that.
We're not fucking taking Vlad in the first, bud.
Yeah, because he's not making out of the wild card, is he? Or what do you think, John?
There's a 0% chance. Like, you ever heard of a guy named Luis Castillo? You ever heard of a guy named Robbie Ray?
Yeah, when
you ever heard of him,
when Big Game Castillo lets you down, and Robbie Ray gets out of pitch.
What are we going here? I like the Scherzer idea of wild card aces that can make a difference. Do we like that idea or no? Let me, Chris, give me some names, dude. What do you like?
I would probably go Braves here. Maybe would be my lane.
Acuna,
tap, Acuna and Riley.
The guy already got Matt or DeGrom. There's no point.
I feel like the ADPs haven't caught up kind of to this flip in the Braves, like long term kind of
prospects of having the bye.
Yeah, exactly. Because are the Phillies and the Cardinals are 2 of the weaker teams in the playoffs. I think we can say, and the Mets and the Padres are a much trickier pod for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Cardinals just have that. They got that Albert Pujols magic right now.
Dude, the Cardinals just have that postseason vibe to them, where it's like, okay, here come the Cardinals again. You know what I mean?
Like, we're just like
if the Cardinals are sitting in the
play at first.
If the Cardinals are sitting in the ALCS, like we're like, oh. Okay, but okay, I understand it. You know what I mean? It's we didn't expect it.
Jose Quintana's just gonna come out and out of nowhere, he's just gonna strike out 13, and you're gonna be like, "What the shit is this? I did not sign up for this."
Surprised.
Chris, that board that I sent in the chat, where literally I just got sniped every single I draft Acuna at the 102, and the guy goes, "Know what? Let me draft Riley and Fried from the 6-7." Only other badge in the lobby. I'm not even kidding you. It's been happening every draft. Like just
to get that reaction out of you.
Okay, talk this through with me, because I haven't done a ton of these yet. Would we want to go double buy team and eat some of this Astros stuff if it falls, or would we want to?
If we get Yordan Jose, that's kind of insane.
Yeah. If not, I like grabbing Fried.
I don't think we will. I don't know about you,
Chris.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's just grab Fried.
Oh, my God.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're the worst drafts ever. They make you tilt. They make no sense. Nez sniped me on Chris Bassett for no reason.
Oh, this guy has to. He has got to take Kershaw here. He's got to do it. He has to take Kershaw. He has to take Kershaw.
Cody Gonsolin.
Oh, baby.
Do it.
Let's go.
This is absolutely insane, man.
Hey, guys, don't forget, I'd rather be lucky than good, and no one runs better than me. Nobody runs better than me.
It's in the name. It's in the name.
Just wait till all of a sudden, one of these middle rounds, it's going to be brave.
That is the danger with the Braves, is they've all kind of piled up in the middle rounds of ADP, and there's 6 of them to go within 12 picks, and you really just kind of have to be ahead of the ball on that turn.
Isn't Arcia starting over Grissom or Grissom or whatever he?
Yeah. Arcia is starting over him. I was just curious if he was in the player pool. I was literally just looking.
You guys?
That's something I had to. Is an Albies I saw? Sorry, Nez.
I was about to bring up Ozzy Albies.
He said he's eyeing a postseason return. How helpful that is for us, I don't know, but.
I have him in my early drafts because I was this is the skeleton key, baby. I got it. I'm way smarter than everyone.
Yeah, he's freaking hurt again.
It was the first game back, right?
Yeah, it was literally the first game.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
And I think it was
that's a rough
first game
break.
rehab assignment. It wasn't first big league game.
no, it was big league.
Yeah,
game.
no, he was.
Oh, it
yeah,
was a
he
big
was
league
up.
game? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty unfortunate.
Did he get hit? Did he swing it and then got? Is that what happened, or did he?
I
thought it
actually
was-
don't know, but like I know with that handmade, obviously, like you can hurt it just by swinging it awkwardly. That's what happened to my boy Key Brian Hayes in 2020. It was
Never heard of him.
Maybe that was even last year. Yeah, well, get familiar, bud.
And Nez,
Is
you ever
that-
heard of this guy right here? His name is Andrew McCutcheon. Oh.
Better? Yeah,
His
better
name is
trade him.
Roberto Clemente.
Better trade him. Oh lordy.
Okay. Chris, my man, talk me through this right now. You're smarter than me, and you've been doing these drafts, you guys.
Tucker Bregman would be fucking sick.
What in the hell
Tucker
is happening?
Javier.
What is this
like-
guy drafting Verlander? Where does this guy go? Where is he stacking? Or is he not stacking?
He's not.
He's going full Guardians.
He's going Guardians with a Verlander.
He's just
ace.
picking his
He's
favorite
doing the
guys.
Nez. He's doing the Nez strat, except he didn't get the wild card ace. He took the bye ace.
Let's go ahead and pull up that draft, Numi. Let's see what I did. Go ahead and you guys continue. I'm about to defend.
You
my
guys
position.
know where this. You
He's
guys
got to
know where
defend his
this
position because he
goes.
drafted a 3-team squad, but he had no business taking Chris Bassett. I will defend my freaking life on this. Let's find it.
I'm pulling it up.
You guys know where this team's going, though, right?
Where
Like, we're gonna need two
not if we're
Mariners
getting.
aces.
Oh, okay, we got Tucker out.
We got Tucker, and we could still do Bregman and then Javier and go like that, and then this is gonna be a 3-team build, right? Like we're just
I mean,
Nobody's talking.
Who's gonna
Come
gonna
on.
pitch? Who's
Talk
gonna
to
pitch
me.
if it's 3-team? I mean, I can't like
Javier.
give me names.
Javier. We need pitchers.
Okay.
I draft pitchers
Okay.
before batters in this. I'm not gonna lie. I get my 5
Okay.
aces.
Names, boys, names. Chris, you're making the next pick for us. Pick anyone your heart desires.
I think here I like Bregman still.
Okay.
I think I like Bregman, and then we come back with either McCullers, Strider, Morton, Wright, somebody.
Did you agree with at least getting one pitcher here, or would you?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay.
In this spot where we've missed on Fromber, Verlander, and Fried, I would want at least one of those
That's
guys.
my
'Cause if we
thought.
got like boxed out here, that would have been tough.
Is this going to be a 2-team build, or is this going to be a 3-team build with like a late, Rays or late Seattle or late Blue Jays, whatever?
I'm up for it. What do you think, Chris? Because this is going to be 2 bye teams. So
Yeah, I'm up for some 3rd-team flavor.
Okay.
we'll peel the Nez takes.
I saw it was Tampa Bay Times maybe reporting that Rasmussen's not pitching today because they're going to let him basically wait for the playoffs. But the Rays already have McClanahan and Glasnow lined up to go game 1, game 2.
And that Glasnow
which-
starts locked. Have you heard that?
That's what they're saying. Was the latest word was that Glasnow just has game 2.
Yeah,
kind
you
of
got him in here.
in there. Yeah, so that was one of the latest changes. And then Rasmussen Springs, Kluber, like somebody in game 3. So I don't hate, letting the Rays out of the like really long shot teams. I think are my favorite one currently, just based on the way that bracket is and who you can draft from their team because they got 2 stud aces. They've got a Rosarena who's a monster. Wander could be the highest earned player in any series that he plays in. And then just basically free bats for you to speculate on.
Yeah, I love your sheet where it's like basically Wander and it says Wander or Rosarena, and then like I don't really know after that, like anyone.
Yeah.
It's literally like they're all the same to me. I'm just like that is literally what I felt when I'm trying to draft.
Okay, so if we have 6 spots left, right? Is that 6?
Yeah.
6 spots left? Yeah.
Yes.
So we have 6 spots left. What are we allocating to? I think we need we all agree that we need this Atlanta right here.
So
Yes.
who are we looking at outfielder? Again, just to recap.
Oh,
Who-
McClanahan
God,
just
man.
went. Interesting.
Like,
Okay. So
Our
do we
own
agree that
outfielder,
we
I'm
want
wondering.
Olsen and Strider here, or are we off Strider and we're on Wright or
Is Morton
Morton?
gone?
Olsen's a yes for me.
Yeah,
That's what
Olsen
I'm
for
saying.
sure.
Yeah.
I think
Olsen for sure.
Olsen's
And
a
then-
smash.
If Morton's around, I like Morton over Strider.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to go. We need to go straight purple after this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, like this might be a damn near 6-pitcher team, just because like we got to get this over the line somehow.
Okay.
I think if you're doing your wild card thing, you don't need to go 6 personally. I think if we were sticking with the concept of 2 bye teams, then yes. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm wrong in that, or that's just my thought.
Since we also have Jordan and Acuna as our 2 outfielders,
Yeah,
I'm
we can just
content
with 2.
like not having to reach for another one. I think 2 is kind of where I ended up as being the limit on outfielders. If I get a
2
good
outfielders.
I
This
don't
is
mind it.
cheeky.
Oh, you got to here. Like,
Yeah.
just like look at these bats we got, dude.
And like I will.
This is absolutely bonkers. Like I don't get this whenever I
get it,
sort
but
this out.
Just because we have the best bats, I will say, doesn't mean they are gonna score. So
we made the bet that they are gonna score because we drafted them.
I know that.
Like a
I know
taste
that.
of the run good, eh, boys? You like a little taste of the run good being on my account, eh?
You like it?
Hey, you like a little taste? This is
Share
how
some
I
of that.
bring.
Share
This is
some
how
of
I
that.
bring the boys in. Just first taste is free. First taste is free here over here, kids.
Yeah, I'll go.
Come on.
Loves the roto run.
Yeah, give me some of that, would you?
Oh, do you guys think influencer 101? How about influencer all the best plays come to me? How about that, boys? Okay, from a pitching standpoint now, like we're gonna crank some purple here. We're gonna paint it purple.
Because just looking
Do we
at
like
it,
this and keep going with this, or we're going a third team and cranking purple?
So real quick, I like Kyle Wright. I do like
Okay.
I like adding him in here. Christian Javier's not going to start till game 3.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Morton's not going to start till game 2.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Wright won't start till game 3. They might
Yep.
get 1 start each. I mean, and that's
We
why
need pitching. We need
yeah.
wild card pitching, is what you're saying. We need
that is
wild card
that is my
pitching,
take.
is what you're saying. What do you think about these? These
Well,
two
I
right
know Chris
here.
don't like them, but
What do you think about? Okay, say names. Say names. We got
No,
Kyle Wright.
no. I like the do Kyle Wright first, and then
Ooh, sketch.
let's do it. Let's do a Mariner after that.
Okay.
I like this
Yeah.
just because there is like no position like pitcher that like unless they get absolutely like blown up and like take your L, like they're not zeros. And we have so many players allocated to bye weeks to not getting those 3 extra games that I personally just like just a little extra help to get myself over the line. He was never great for the Pirates, goddammit. He's a loser.
One thing I will say that old John's bro science, his spidey senses were tingling here during that pick in pushing the M's narrative. There was they definitely played Houston in the second round, which is probably not ideal for us pushing this team across the line, right? Like maybe we should have grabbed the Cleveland side of that, and we should have gone like Bieber and
Bieber
Tristan
went like in
McKenzie.
the second round.
Too
Oh,
early.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But Aaron Nolan, but like
snoozing.
Darvish, is
yeah,
there, we don't
Darvish
have any Mets.
and Musgrove.
We're
Or
what, 4
even
Braves
Snell.
now?
I like Snell too.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
Snell,
racks up
good point.
strikeouts.
Yeah, big caper 9 guy. Yeah, it's interesting. No, I was just, maybe a little homerism snuck in the wrong play there for us, but I got excited when I saw 2 aces and we needed to crank purple. I got excited. Yeah.
Yeah, so now like if you scroll down a little bit more, like I don't know if we have any other game, like Gosman is there, but like obviously that like we kind of already made our gross bed here.
I got a Gosman take for later after we
pick him.
No, we're not taking him here.
You think he could be like what David Price was in his rookie year for the Rays there, where he comes in and he's like an opener who's not fully ready yet, and then they start using him out of the pen and stuff like that?
I think he's not locked into a wild card start. Would be my.
Who do you think's the second start for the Blue Jays?
I think it could be Stripling.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think they
Stripling's
feel
been
good
good
about
recently.
that?
Okay, hey guys, we're on the clock here. Ray and
Yeah, we kind of just like made that bet with the Mariners.
yeah, We did. So now do we go with a stick from the Mariners, like an outfield stick, or
I'd rather
we-
have a Braves bat here, I think.
okay? This is where you'll see why I got paid the big bucks here.
Dansby.
We want to go
is
outfield
mine.
again.
No,
No, Dansby over
Dansby.
for sure.
Okay.
Guys who play.
The only other
Dansby's going to earn himself an
about to
insane contract this postseason. It's going to be insane.
Unreal.
Mancini would have been kind of nice because in the dailies he has outfield eligibility,
Mhm.
and
He just
that was
oddly
kinda
isn't playing as much as I would have expected.
What time is it in a non-legitimate time zone right now? It's 4 o'clock. Yeah.
Sir.
Okay.
Sir, if I had power, you'd be.
What?
gone.
When's our hard out? 4:30.
We might want to
yeah.
give ourselves a couple minutes before 4:30, but
Like 4.
Okay.
we could probably squeak
How
in
fast
one
are
more
these
of
drafts?
these.
Let's do another one. Yeah.
Let's do
Okay.
another
We're not gonna not do another one. Come on.
This time we'll get some Blue Jays. So maybe I'm just like sleep. Is like Ross Stripling like putting together some like really nice starts right now?
He's been solid. That's the best kind of way to put it. Even before this weekend, there was kind of a speculation before they got locked into the 4 seed, before they got locked into having Manoah in game 1. The kind of last round of rumors was they're going to let Manoah go game 1 for sure. If they win game 1, then it could be Stripling in game 2. And then if they need game 3, that's Gosman. If they win and then win again with Stripling, then you have Gosman for game 1 of the DS. I think Barrios is out of the equation for the wild card series.
I would hope.
In any starting capacity. And then this weekend, Gosman goes out and in his start, gets a cut, blister or something on his finger, and gets pulled. Now they're saying that it's no concern and he's going to be fine, which happens to guys who throw splitters a lot, and he's kind of dealt with this issue before. So I'm not kind of concerned long term for his availability, but I do think it is in the back of their mind. And they went out of their way to basically announce Manoah today as the game 1 starter and hold off on game 2. So I don't hate Stripling in a Jays stack, and I wouldn't treat Gosman like I'd treat Ray or Tristan McKenzie or somebody else who's going to be in an AL wildcard game 2 situation.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That tracks. I forgot about the Gosman laceration on the middle finger. I'm like, gee, that's no big deal. Okay. Well, see, I'm getting shades of Aaron Sanchez, but I don't want to.
Yeah, poor Aaron.
Yeah,
Sanchez.
it's too bad they just
coming
didn't
out
give
of
all
the
that.
weeds.
It's too bad
First
they
time
just
I've
didn't
seen
give
him.
all that money to the Cy Young winner last year, who was a member of their team. Yeah, it's too bad.
I think they have a lot of contracts coming up they might need to pay up for.
That's true. No, they gave him the exact same deal. They gave Gosman.
They did.
And,
I'm talking their bats.
No, I understand that, but they still paid the exact same amount of money for the exact same amount of years
You're right.
to Gosman versus Ray.
Ray's year was outlier. I mean, he just came out of nowhere. I mean, the Robbie Ray that we knew before last year was not the Robbie Ray. And then
with Kevin Gosman.
Kevin Gosman's kind of been more, I would say, steadier than Robbie Way. I mean, recently, it's not
steadier,
steadier. 2-3 years, he's been dominant.
But Ray had some awesome years on the Diamondbacks. Like he's shown flashes of this. I is my thought.
There was also the Ray vaccination talk, I think, which was an impact on that, because only being able to pitch on the road would be tough, or only at home.
Is that a detriment? I'm not sure.
81 games, a little bit less than 162.
Did he get back? Can he pitch in Toronto?
So
they
just
lifted
changed
the restriction.
Oh, yep. Doesn't matter anymore.
Because he didn't travel with the team earlier in the year when they came here, but there was no kind of confirmation one way or another.
Of course, right? Yeah. Why would they do that to their guy?
He was a good old boy, just a good old boy from the South there.
All right, Bets 101 is not like super. I've seen it sometimes, but that's not that wouldn't be my choice. But I can't hate it.
Our guest Chris, where do your eyes go at this turn?
I kind of want to go down the board and pick some wild card teams.
Okay.
Get a little interesting.
I'll give you a name.
I mean,
can we let Chris draft the damn Blue Jay? For God's sake!
I don't hate it.
Okay, let's do this with either Bo or Springer. You like who? Do you like
Springer.
Better, Bo or
Springer first. Springer's
I'm
way
a
higher.
Springer guy. I'm a Springer guy.
Yeah,
so let's
way
do that.
higher in ADP.
And the outfield eligibility matters a lot, right?
Yeah.
Dude, we're gonna get sniped on Manoah. I'm just ready for it. I'm gonna leave this
right here.
I hope Freezer does it. Freezer's
by the way, I
watching
have
the stream lurking in the shadows right now, never reaching out to me. Hey Freezer, you're in the stream right now. You're in the lobby right now, buddy. I'll give you 5 free entries. 5 free entries on Underdog.
Freezer needs the 5 free
to come on the stream.
Oh god.
Bounty on his head.
What I will say to that draft I was talking about that I'm not getting that Nez wanted to bring up. I started DeGrom, Scherzer, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor. Okay, and then I go. I'm gonna get my Jose Ramirez, and then I get Brandon Nimmo. And then I get Jose Ramirez, and then it goes to Nez, and he randomly, after having a nice Houston, San Diego, goes, guys, I'm gonna take Chris Bassett.
That was ignorance
And
of the
takes
matchup.
Chris Bassett, and then starts fighting me for Mets.
Yep.
I'm like, what are we doing here, sir? Like,
I love to see it.
Oh my
METS, man.
Oh my god! Don't be these guys in the rooms. Stick to your staff.
And then I got
build out your
McNeil and
teams.
Canna too, so that was kind of sick.
We've already talked about this on
Numi,
stream.
just be better at playing defense, man. Just be better at playing defense.
Listen to your buddy John here, get into denial position, and don't give me a shot at it.
Yeah, it's all about position, man. You got the button in your favor right there.
I didn't even do anything for your stacks. I wasn't going Houston, San Diego. I freaking took Jose Ramirez. Sir,
love to see it. Freezer building out the 2 bye teams as well to start, or maybe he's going that Judge one off. Ben's in the room here. Ben likes that DeGrom too, and then building out that Houston. I think the Mets are so intriguing right now.
Are you most likely going for that NL team, or are you gravitating towards getting that pitcher?
I'd probably go Manoah and then pick an NL team and
That's
just
what I
kind
would
of
do as well. Yeah.
plant your flag. So between the Padres, the Phillies, the Cardinals, like I don't really have.
Well, let's consult the chart, sir.
I was just going to the chart. Yep.
Yeah, let's the playoff picture over here. My playoff picture tool that I created that all royalties go to me. My playoff tool suggests perhaps the Phillies or the Padres have a little bit better chance.
I like the
there.
Phillies more. I don't know, maybe because the Padres, like we were talking about, have the Mets and then the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude.
My tiebreaker.
Yeah, but then there's also I fully.
And they do have the
agree with
Braves.
that.
I get that, but
I fully agree with that. Is this our favorite bat?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And they're aces. They're pitchers. I mean, now you're doing what I like to do. Now you're doing what I like to do, Nezzy, and like this is where 2 teams work, and you're still getting your aces that are in the wild card round. Like,
yeah, I like it.
This is where 2 teams should be right up your alley. Like you're gonna get Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Manoah, and yet you're gonna tell me you need to get more pitchers.
I have to take Mets or Houston in every draft. What can I tell you, man? They are my bona fide faves. He's out. He can't.
I can't. I don't.
I need the Mets or the Astros. You're
trolling.
That's it.
I get it.
Right,
You're trolling.
You guys have a little powwow.
Well, so
I'm about to kick you both
what I wanted
out.
to bring out your reasoning for the reason I bring it up is because Chris pointed this out on this reason why he goes too heavy, which was in relation to the final being so big, and having to our goal is to just get, and totally I get it. Sacrificing 1 to 2 isn't a big deal. I'm overhyping it. It's the bit, but having the 2 extra roster spots legitimately could win you that 15 because you have that guy that we don't like that's lower on that Oswaldo Cabrera, that certain guy that, that maybe just has a series. Like, what was your reasoning for the 2-team and over 3 and with that big final? You had you said it in there, maybe not explaining it right, but you said it in the last video of why you're reasoning for 2 teams, why you just kind of honed in on that and thought that was the most likely. Because we are aiming for that. We understand we're lowering our advance rate, but we are maximizing the upside and our possibility for first. Correct?
Exactly. And if you look at the step-by-step payouts in the advance rate, you're not getting anything really until you get to the final. So you're going to have to kind of run good to get there. You 10x if you make the final, which is a nice kind of payout. And then the final, it's a big final. It's actually structured pretty decently for one of these contests. But just making it through the wild card round and the DS round, it's like you make like $11 or $14 or something back in money, whereas you get 100 if you make the final. So even playing for the advance rate, like it can be hit or miss. The 2-team versus 3-team thing, I will say it was easier at the beginning when these slows were going and everyone was staying true and sticking to their stuff. And some of these fasts I know can get a little, you're under the gun, you click and whatever, everyone's not like as sharp on the ball.
Sorry, Chris, 1 second, just we're on the clock here. Are we sticking with this Toronto Philly, or are we going to maybe eat a little random Max Fried and Riley that fell to us?
You know my answer, but if you want to do Fried and Riley, I'm fine with it.
We got 4 seconds. Somebody.
Let's go. Let's stay with the 2.
Yeah.
With the 2. Okay. Yep. That's all I needed to hear, guys. I don't really give a shit what the answer was. I just needed someone to have the, sack up and say something.
So my thought next picks would be just to pray that none of these pitchers get taken and we can just double tap Nola and Wheeler. That would be my thought.
I really like that.
Yeah, that's gonna be
so. Sorry, you were kind of going on, and maybe we lost your tangent of where you were. So, but yeah,
it was the 2-team thing, yeah. But and then in the final being big is kind of an important part because the final is a 1-week DFS tournament for $15K with 300 people in it.
Chris, some are calling the World Series. Some are calling it the week 17 of this contest. Some are saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Some are calling this the week 17 of the pennant, the World Series.
One could say that's the only thing that matters.
One could say.
One could say. So Numi made a good point before with the 11th and 12th spots in your roster, still being important in the DFS tournament. That like you wouldn't want to be playing at a handicap in the final round.
Yeah, and that's I totally get I get the thought of it, like we're betting on them in that context. I totally get it. Like it's what was it, Jordan and Acuna? Like I think we've talked about it before, and I'm on the same. Like I wouldn't necessarily get another outfielder. I might be more willing to tack on that infielder, even though maybe I have some good infield. Have you done many 6-pitcher squads, or are you mainly a 5?
I didn't do any 6s. I just did 5s.
Okay.
But I did a lot of 5s. I think I only had a handful of 4s.
What's your own? Yeah. I was just about to say, what's your most owned roster format? Each of you guys.
For me, it's 5-4-3, and then 5-3-4 and 5-5-2 in that order.
Okay.
But 5-4-3 being kind of significantly the highest owned.
Yeah,
that's interesting because when I started
5-5-2 are mine. So
say again, Numi,
5-4-3 and then 5-5-2. So
okay,
like, the 2 outfielder thing I'm on. Like I just like that.
Yeah.
I just think so. Yeah, I would double tap them here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just because you're getting like at this point you can get bats from that team, like we were talking about, Witt, Chapman, and we're gonna have to. I think, who do we have here? I can't see all the way down. Do we have 3 outfielders or 2?
We have 3. We have Springer, Harper, and Schwarber.
Yeah, so now in my mind, it's going to be Hoskins, Realmuto. I mean, you can get different. That's
Chapman,
I think it's
Kirk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my thought for those.
Yeah, these are really fun. It's interesting that you guys said that because when I initially started drafting these, like when the contrast first dropped, and I don't know. I probably only have like 15 or something because I was so inundated with the daily stuff and with football. But I think when the contest first dropped, I just gravitated to drafting 4-4-4. And I think the majority of my builds are 4-4-4, and maybe I'm drawing Stone Dead already, but it's just interesting to hear from you guys as we know the matchups more, as we know the matchups and the positional or the playoff breakdown, as we know the starting rotation, how much more value is being placed on starting pitching in a way to score raw points.
And like our starting pitchers here, if you go to the sheet, all are green. They're all green. They're all good. They're all looking for 2 starts in that first round, which is what we want. So now it's like you add another pitcher on there that you can still do that. Like you don't need to get, in my mind, that's where you don't need to add that third team. You're just betting for that outcome. Do I think it's going to be Phillies, Blue Jays? No. Like if I had to pick it, but it's baseball. It's like you do this in all the sports, right? We do this in, my man Nezzy won freaking, that's where his clink it up ring came from, the mitten. So he knows it. Like, I just think it's maybe a different It's just, it's tough. And I think we don't know. It's really different with the contest. It's brand new. We don't know it. So this could be, I mean, I'd like to think Chris is on my side. So it's maybe not me fully going 9 pitcher, and then realizing 9 pitcher was the least efficient way in MLB. But like, I totally get your 3 team and it makes a lot of sense. And now that I'm thinking about it, in theory, wasting just 1 spot, just having 11 of 12 of 2 teams and then just getting that 1 start pitcher, that could boost you over. And then you still have 11 spots in the final. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like you still have 11 spots. You're definitely fielding your team. So yeah, it makes total sense. Like it really does. And it's just, I think it's just 2 unique ways to build, which are perfectly fine.
Chris, who's your favorite second Blue Jay pitcher to add to this squad then? Is it Stripling right now?
I like throwing a Stripling dart here and maybe getting that 2-start week. I would probably I'd go Hoskins first. And
I think you might not even need to take Stripling here. I say that, but I don't think no one picks. People are picking Jose Barrios over him.
What about these 2?
I like Teoscar's a guy who's going to be in there every day, hitting 4th, 5th, 6th, like somewhere in the middle of that order.
That feels good to me.
For which players? For what we're looking at right here?
Hoskins, Teoscar next. What do you think? Even with those 3 outfielders of a George, Harper, Schwarber, would you add him?
I think so, because like with Manoah, like we're for sure getting a start there. We're getting 2 starts from Nola and Wheeler. I for sure like Reese, and then I would probably go like Reese. I like Reese Chapman. No, well that's a lot of.
I think then,
guys, you know what? I could. How many spots we got left? We got 4.
Yeah. Go Reese Chapman. Then I feel like we got to go 2 pitchers.
Can I twist your guys' arm on a little Julio plus Castillo here?
Don't ruin this. Don't ruin it.
Can
I twist your arm on a little other side of the wild card? That's
Oscar could be interesting. I normally don't like. I like having like a power hitting player on the team that can just like
I
really
like
swing shit in your way, especially
one
an
of these
outfielder.
Classic little nugget things where they're like not starting game 1, but it's like talking about a double header the other day. Like it's meant for the daily contests, and it's just like sitting there, and it's just like such a gross nugget that you're like, wait, what? You got 30 seconds on the clock. You're like,
sent it to Chris in Discord, but we just got the notification and it said starting game 2, and then it was like for the Blue Jays on like Ross Phelps on, and then on the bottom it said Wednesday. I sent it to him like I did not see Wednesday, and I literally sent like who, like the Snoop Dogg, like who is this man, like what? And then he's like, dude, I had a heart attack too. I'm like, that is not what we need right now. Like Ross Phelps.
Great pitcher. You guys don't know Ross Phelps?
Yeah, Ross Phelps. It was just wait, no, is it random. Or David Phelps?
David Phelps,
David Phelps, not Ross.
Yeah,
Phelps.
David Phelps was like, he was decent in the Yankees bullpen, then he was decent in Miami. Come on, guys.
Not a bad pitcher, just not who I wanted starting game 2 of the wild cards.
Of course, yeah.
Correct.
I'm clowning.
I will say
circling
after
back
this,
on the.
Oh yeah, no.
Circling back on the pitcher thing,
Mhm.
just we were talking a lot about five pitchers there. Why 5? In this contest, you got to start 3 pitchers out of your like 7 total spots that you're starting,
Yeah.
which is a heavier concentration of pitchers than any other best ball contest that they put out here for baseball. So if you're coming to this from a regular season where pitching was only 3 out of like 10 spots. And I think we saw that, taking less pitchers was a very good idea in season long. Was one of the big learning points. Here, it's actually going to be, I think, beneficial to be getting those 5 pitcher teams in for sure.
Who would, so if you're doing Stripling, would you opt for Suarez or would you?
Yeah, that was my question. I think this is a Ranger Suarez team, right?
Yeah. How many? What's our kind of breakdown of bats here? Do we have more Jays or more Phillies? Because that's sometimes the tiebreaker.
That's literally what I was going to do. Yeah. So we have
more Jays. We have 3 Phillies and we have 4 Jays.
Yep. So we could, in theory, and this is just me thinking, you could go Stripling and Gausman. Yeah, because you can get Gausman because we're getting, if we luckily get one of those. Yeah, I like it. And that's exactly what I was going to say. I know we got to wrap up here quick, but that's exactly my tiebreaker is. I was talking about that earlier. Like, even if I have 4 to 3, it just makes more sense. Like, just grab the 3. Like, if you have 4 batters to 3 pitchers, make your pitchers. Or if you have 3 batters, 3 to 4 for your batters on separate teams, just make your pitchers 3 to 2 with the same side going towards the more batters. Sorry, that probably made no sense to people, but it's just more batters on your team, stack pitching, because in theory, if you have more batters, that's going to negatively correlate with your pitching. So
batters. Use the word hitters, please. We're not 11 years old here. The batters are coming up. This is our batting order.
The guys with the sticks that go like this, and then they hit it.
Those guys.
The boom bats. Boom guys.
I just want
big beefy baseball players.
Yeah, big beefy baseball boys. Alejandro Kirk.
Ty France.
Yeah, Ty France, baby.
Williams Astudillo.
Yeah, those are good names. One thing I just want to say about like just in general that I've noticed about these contests, and nothing's really changed from the window in time in which I was drafting them, is give me Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler 1,000 times out of 1,000 over Nestor Cortez and Lance McCullers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just give me these wild card aces that can line up for multiple starts over the guys that are on a bye who are the second and or third starters on their own team. Like, that was just like my biggest, I don't know. That's what I was drafting before I even knew the matchups. And now that we know the matchups and we know kind of how rotations are lining up and stuff, and like, Nestor's going to be in it, but like, Lance McCullers doesn't necessarily have a slot pending on how those off days work out. Like, what if Houston goes down like 0-2? It's within the range of possibilities. And then they're just like, oh yeah, we'll bring back Verlander on this. Right. I don't know. I'm just kind of like thinking out loud that my Seattle take was never about the fact that I necessarily like Seattle. It was that like, I can get Luis Castillo and Robbie Ray together in the 8th round. With this Phillies stack, it's like I can get Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola in the 8th round. Like, I don't know. I think that's something that we've kind of harped on, but I think that's been my biggest takeaway from this stream. And whether right, wrong, indifferent, this is kind of where I'm leaning. You guys, I don't know.
I just think more than one way to play it. That's all. Yeah, I love Lance, but
yeah. So it's just whatever, guys.
It's just obviously that's what makes these fun, is that there's just more than one way to play it, and the way that I'm doing it is I'm trying to sneak in some projectable first round points. That is that's my take, and we'll see. I could be totally dust, and I'm just like here with my min cash teams, like gang's all here, but maybe I'm in there, and they're like, man, I wish I would have loaded up more for the second round.
Exactly. Okay, we gotta really wrap this up here.
Unfortunately.
Any closing words there, Chris?
No, I think that playoff baseball is the absolute best, and playoff baseball, best ball is going to be insane.
It's going to be such a good talking point, man. Like, I think the Discord's going to pop. Like, Yeah, it's good. Like John said, to have a little sweat on the game is going to be perfect. So
Incredible. And it's playoff baseball, literally anything can happen. So don't get yourself too tied up on, one of these
Yes,
things,
sir.
right? Being right or wrong. Just kind of enjoy the ride.
All right. To send us out here, everybody,
let's go.
Defeated by the overlay.
Everybody's favorite part of the show. Thank you, Chris, for being here. This was a lot of fun. Keep pumping out those quality sheets and put them behind a paywall so you can get yourself a little extra scratch and stop giving your opponents such a huge edge. But guys, use that sheet, draft these teams, enjoy the playoff run. Best of luck to you through these postseason, Chris, except for your Blue Jays. And everybody's favorite part of the show, the end.